Hi there, so today I'm going to do a quick video. Well, actually it's not going to be quick because you guys have got a lot of questions on this topic. But today we're going to be talking about acne and hormones. A couple of weeks ago I asked my Instagram followers to send me any questions that they had on hormones, and the questions came in thick and fast. It's quite clear that you guys, hormones are a really complicated subject, so I'm hoping that today we can talk about skin, hormones, and I can, help you kind of understand a bit more, in more detail why hormones can affect the skin in such a way and the best ways to combat it. So the first question that quite a few people asked was which hormones are actually responsible for acne. I wish I could say that it's just this one hormone and that's it, and there's this one magic little pill that you can take to cure it, but it's not that simple, I'm afraid. The way hormones work within our bodies is just mind-boggling. It's not just how many, there are so many hormones within our body, and it's the way they work in the body, but also the way they interact with each other. All these factors have, can mean that your acne displays in one way for someone, but that same kind of interaction, will create a whole different set of symptoms for someone else. There are many different hormones that can affect and influence hormonal changes in our skin, but the main ones that we're going to talk about, because they are really the sort of end result of the kind of acne cycle, are androgens, and they include things like DHT, testosterone, and DHEA. So I know what you're going to think. You're going to think, right, I need to get rid of my androgens, like just get rid of them now. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Androgens are actually needed by both men and women, men more importantly, but women do need them, for optimal health too. So the problem arises when, we either have too many androgens in our system or that we're actually sensitive to androgens. A sensitivity to androgens means that even the tiniest increase beyond normal levels can cause catastrophic symptoms such as acne, excess facial hair, oily skin, weight gain, hair thinning, and even like male pattern baldness in like severe cases. The question we have to ask ourselves is why and what are causing these androgens to increase in the first place? So this is where it gets complicated, because there isn't just one simple answer. One of the most common examples is that these days we're just eating too much sugar and too many refined carbohydrates. I'm talking about cakes, cookies, bread, pasta, pizza, bagels, all those kind of things. A diet high in these foods increases our insulin levels and causes major problems with our blood sugar levels. Over time, this causes our ovaries to produce an excess of androgens, specifically testosterone at this point. An increase in ovarian androgens means that the body is unable to ovulate efficiently. No ovulation means low progesterone levels, and progesterone is a skin calming hormone which helps inhibit the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. Are you still following me? Because I think I'm losing myself as well. But anyway, let's carry on. So the enzyme 5-alpha reductase stops testosterone from being converted into a more potent androgen called DHT. So DHT is the hormone that is actually causing your breakouts. It's the one that's causing oily skin. It's the one that's causing clogged pores and breakouts. So it's the conversion of testosterone to DHT, which is caused by an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase, which is that conversion. So you could have slightly higher testosterone levels and you might not be suffering from acne. It's that if it's a lot of that testosterone is being converted into DHT, DHT is actually the acne causing hormone that we need to watch out for. So another example, and I'm seeing that this is becoming much more common with just the way the world is, and that is stress. So if you've cleaned up your diet, you're not eating sugar anymore, you really dramatically cut down on carbohydrates or refined carbohydrates, and you're still having problems with your skin, then it's likely that to some extent it could be attributed to stress. Your adrenal glands produce a number of different androgens, and in fact their sources say that about 50% of your total androgens come from your adrenal glands. So for any of those that think that, you know, oh, you know, I can just bypass the stress thing, that's not having a massive impact on my skin. Like, you know, there's no way. It definitely can. So like, please consider stress as part of your treatment plan. You know, adrenal androgen excess is a really, really complicated topic, and it's not, you know, there's a lot of different treatment options, you know, and nothing is a guaranteed fix. So you just need to, you know, adrenal androgen is not like a one thing on its own. You can't just do some meditation and it will clear up your skin. Quite often, stress it's not just about mental stress, it's about the stress that is being put on your body. So that could be stress related to gut health, and, you know, even just when you look at yourself in the mirror and you just, you know, you don't like what you see and you put yourself down and you say nasty things about yourself in your head, like, oh, you know, I'm not pretty enough, I'm this, I'm that, you know, all those kind of things are stress on the body. So this needs to really be taken into consideration if you're serious about clearing your acne. So we've talked about testosterone, DHT, DHEA, insulin, progesterone, but there is a final hormone that could be affecting the quality of your skin. And this tends to be more common in women who are in their 40s and approaching the menopause, or they're entering their perimenopause phase in the lead up to menopause. And this hormone is estrogen. While the other hormones that we've spoken about can be sort of attributed to having an excess of them, and that's what causes the problem. With estrogen, it can sometimes be that you're not getting, you don't have enough estrogen. So estrogen helps fight acne by binding to testosterone. Estrogen increases the levels of sex hormone binding globulin. Sex hormone binding globulin binds to testosterone and makes it completely ineffective in the body. So, you know, increasing your estrogen levels can help control excess testosterone by binding to it and making it completely inert. So the next question is, what are the signs that my acne is caused by a hormone imbalance? So this is a tricky question, because technically all acne is caused by some form of hormone imbalance. There are lots of sources that say, you know, acne along your chin and jawline, that's hormonal, forehead is digestive, blah, blah, blah. But actually all, you know, no matter where your acne is presenting itself, whether it's chest, chin, jaw, cheeks, nose, forehead, temples, it is all down to a hormone imbalance. So just because you don't have jaw acne doesn't mean that your hormones aren't, you know, there's not something that you can, you know, your hormones aren't not to blame. Does that make sense? But anyway, yeah, so, you know, just don't think that because your acne is located in one specific area that, you know, you don't have to think about hormones, because you do. So because the location of our acne doesn't necessarily tell us whether our hormones are imbalanced or not, it's good to look at other symptoms that you might be struggling with, because this is usually your best sign that something is up when it comes to your hormones. So, you know, you've got tons of other symptoms that are linked with hormonal acne and hormonal imbalances. Weight gain, anxiety, mood swings, menstrual headaches, bloating, hair loss, hair thinning, excess facial hair, tender breasts, reduced sex drive. The list goes on. So if you have any of, you know, those symptoms, then it's definitely worth exploring, you know, how you can balance your hormones, because you'll likely not only just help clear your acne, you'll help clear up those other symptoms too. So the next question I have is, how long should you stick to a routine before changing? So this one, you know, the answer, you're not gonna like it, because it's gonna take a lot longer than you hope. But both our skin and our hormones work in cycles of about 12 weeks. So to see best results, you really need to be, you know, taking your supplement routine, your skincare routine, your diet, you know, whatever you're doing, you really have to, you know, be doing it for 3 months. You know, this is often a stumbling block because 3 months is quite a long time. But, you know, if you know, when it comes to supplements and skincare, you're probably gonna have to make a repurchase of that product before you start seeing results. So, you know, but it's really important. Otherwise you're just going to be wasting money by sort of jumping from one thing to the next and not giving it the time it needs to actually start having an effect on your body, especially when it comes to hormones. Like, hormones aren't just going to fix your stuff. Like it's just like your acne and your hormone imbalances didn't just happen overnight. So you're not going to be able to just fix them overnight. It is going to take time, and hormones and skin, they just work in a cycle of about 3 months. So you really, really want to be using, or make any changes that you make, you've got to be implementing them for 3 months before you can make a judgment call on whether it's right or not for you. You know, it's also important to be aware that, you know, it doesn't mean that, you know, in 3 months your acne is going to just completely be gone and you're just never going to suffer from acne anymore. Acne doesn't work like that, and, you know, while some people with sort of minor acne could perhaps see complete clearance of acne and congestion in those 3 months, it's more likely that, you know, it will take a few more, but you've just got to be looking for improvement. You know, and these, you want improvement by the end of 3 months. You know, and these sort of improvements, you want to be, you know, first things, like for me personally, I noticed like lots of other things before I actually noticed my skin, you know, improvements in my skin. I kind of noticed better sleep, more energy, less sugar cravings, you know, oh my God, my PMS literally disappeared, had no more PMS. So all those things kind of happened in like maybe the 2nd month, and I was like, okay, hang on, this is working for me now, because not, you know, perhaps my skin isn't saying that right now, but the rest of my body is like crying out with joy, because finally we found something that is helping with my PMS symptoms, my energy levels. So, you know, just look for improvements, not just in your skin, but in your body as well. I mean, in your skin, you want to be looking for like less spots, less redness. Like, a lot of people initially they don't necessarily stop breaking out, but the breakouts are less red, they're less inflamed, they heal quicker. So those sort of changes are the ones that you want to kind of pick up on and make a note, so that you know that actually you are heading in the right direction, because it could take a further 3 months. It can take sometimes, for some really complex you know, hormone imbalances, it can take like a year or so for it to, you know, fully kind of, you know, for you to fully get control of your skin. So just bear that in mind. Don't expect miracles, and just look for improvements. And if after 3 months your skin's getting worse, or it's just exactly the same, and your symptoms, any other symptom is just, you know, not having any improvements at all, then it's probably time to either add something in or adjust something, and just sort of, you know, perhaps try a new routine. So the next question a few of you asked was about seed cycling and how seed cycling can help balance hormones. So for those of you that don't know, seed cycling is a sort of simple concept where you add a tablespoon of certain seeds to your diet during the 2 key phases of your menstrual cycle. And each seed has specific kind of functions and qualities that help support your hormones. So personally, I've only been seed cycling for a couple of months. And as I mentioned before, you really got to give something 3 months before you can really tell whether it's working for you. But I have noticed a few kind of positive changes. You know, this is going to be too much information for some of you, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know, this cycle, so my 2nd cycle since starting seed cycling, I actually had to set a reminder on my phone to remind me to change my menstrual cup morning and night, because I kept forgetting I was even on my period, because I just didn't feel anything. There was absolutely nothing there that told me. So it was really light, really painless, and great. So I do think that it is working for me, but yeah, time will tell. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm definitely going to be keeping it up. So the next question is, where do I start? What's the best way to start when it comes to balancing hormones? So in an ideal world, the best place would be to get a full Dutch hormone panel test done. This means that you'll be able to tell immediately, or not immediately, but when you get your test results back, you'll be able to see pretty quickly and pretty clearly what the problem is, which hormones are out of balance, what needs to be worked on. But this is pretty pricey, and you know, and it is out of a lot of people's price range, so I get that. But that is going to be your kind of like quickest and most efficient route to clear a skin, happier hormones, but it's out of some people's budget. So the next thing that would be definitely something that, you know, you should be looking at if you think that your hormones are a little bit crazy at the moment, and that is making sure that your diet is hormonally optimum. You know, this means eating more healthy fats. Hormones such as progesterone and estrogen, which we've already spoken about, are the skin calming hormones. They are made out of fat and cholesterol. So if you're not getting enough healthy fat via your diet, then you're not going to be able to be producing enough to balance your hormones. When dealing with hormone imbalances, it's also really important to remove as many of the kind of hormone disrupting things in your life that could be contributing to hormone imbalance. So, you know, we're talking about parabens and phthalates. These are found in many mainstream cosmetics. These should be avoided, looking for kind of not necessarily just natural, but clean, safe skincare. You also got pesticides in food. Now, I know that not everyone can go completely organic with their food, but, you know, for things like meat, you know, and there are a few fruits and vegetables which, you know, should, if you can get organic, then it's worth doing. Just trying to reduce your, you know, your toxic load. You know, the hormonal contraceptive, that's a synthetic that contains synthetic hormones, which is throwing your hormonal system totally out of balance. You've got fluoride and bromide. These can have a devastating impact on your thyroid and is found in drinking water, carpets, curtains, car seats. Bromide is used as a fire retardant, and it's used in a lot of kind of furnishings in the, you know, you've got cushions, mattresses, car seats, all those kind of things. It's used in that, and it's really harmful for our system, and unfortunately there's not much we can do about avoiding things like that. So to, you know, just to ensure that you are getting, as you know, really trying to reduce your toxic load, you know, you just want to, where possible, so things like food and cosmetics, you want to be making sure that you are avoiding as many possible toxins as possible. So the next question is about PMS, and someone has asked, my PMS has got really bad in the last year or so, what can I do? So before we go anywhere, I just want to say that PMS is not normal. You know, even though it's become normal because everyone has it, and to not have PMS is considered abnormal, that doesn't make it okay. If you're struggling with any kind of premenstrual symptoms, whether it's like premenstrual headaches or just cramping or bloating, breast pain, no matter how mild, it is your body's way of telling you that something isn't right. You know, and if you don't kind of look at it now, then it's likely that it's going to escalate and it's going to get worse, and you're going to get more symptoms, you know, over time. So yeah, if you've got any kind of PMS symptoms, then it's a sign that something is slightly off with your hormones. So PMS symptoms, whether it's moodiness, acne, sore boobs, sugar cravings, you know, it can all be put down to the hormone progesterone, or more accurately, the lack of progesterone. You know, for women, progesterone is a really important part of the regulation of our periods. You know, your body produces progesterone when you ovulate, and if you don't ovulate, then you don't produce progesterone. You know, and without enough progesterone, you will suffer from the PMS symptoms, you know, all the PMS symptoms I've mentioned, plus so much more. So one of the key reasons I believe that women are suffering from more intense PMS symptoms now more than ever is due to the amount of hormone disrupting factors that we're experiencing and that we're exposed to on a regular basis. I've already mentioned them before. You've got things like the contraceptive pill, fluoride, bromide, parabens, pesticides, you know, but that's just not all. Even like high levels of stress can just decrease our progesterone levels, and cause your hormones to become further imbalanced. This is what I'm talking about when I say that hormones, it's not just one hormone. One hormone affects another hormone, that affects another hormone, and it can so easily get out of control. So when your body is in a constant state of stress due to factors like poor diet, you know, we don't think of not eating well as a poor diet, but it is a stress on our body. It might not be a mental stress, but it's putting stress on our body. Our bodies aren't designed to process, you know, processed. It's not designed to process processed foods. So, you know, we're not built to do that. We're built to eat, you know, whole foods, natural foods in their natural state, and, you know, and synthetically man-made chemicals that are put into our food. Our bodies just can't deal with it. It doesn't know how to deal with it. That is a strain and a burden on our bodies. So we're not just looking at the strain, the stress of, you know, like, oh, I'm really busy at work, or I've got lots of bills to pay. We're not looking at just that kind of stress. We're looking at stress that daily life is having on our body. You know, and with, you know, when you're chronically stressed, whether it's, you know, social anxieties, lack of sleep, excessive exercise, or like I've mentioned, you know, your gut health, your body's just under pressure from the way you're living your life. Your adrenal glands require extra progesterone to produce the additional cortisol that it needs for your body to be able to deal with all this chronic stress. So this is actually known as the progesterone steal, because your body is, your adrenal glands are stealing like your resources of progesterone to help your body deal with this stress. So that's making your levels of progesterone even lower. So that's why a lot of people notice that when they've gone through a really stressful time and they've perhaps not like eaten like they normally do, and they've been, you know, mentally and physically stressed, you know, you end up you skip a period or you miss a period. It's because you're not, you know, you're not producing enough progesterone to maintain a healthy cycle. So eating, you know, obviously sticking to a hormonally optimal diet is key, working on stress relieving techniques, and also perhaps, you know, if doing this isn't kind of giving you the results you want, you could look into taking some progesterone boosting supplements like magnesium, Vitex, or Agnus castus as it's called in the UK. So these two supplements can be really, really effective at managing PMS and all the symptoms that are associated with PMS. Okay, so the next question is one of my favorites. It is, my doctor's blood tests have come back normal. What does this mean? So this is a really good question, and it does cause so much confusion over hormone-related acne. Unfortunately, blood tests can be pretty useless when it comes to working out which specific hormones are the issue. The reason basic blood panels don't give enough information is because blood tests take like a single snapshot of your current hormonal profile. Not only does this snapshot, you know, your hormones change multiple times throughout the day, throughout the month. So taking just one single snapshot at the random time that you go to your doctor's is unlikely to kind of give a clear picture of what is actually going on. You know, this makes it really, really difficult to actually pinpoint the problem hormones that could be causing your acne. So another reason why blood tests aren't the most accurate for diagnosing hormone-related acne is because hormone activity doesn't always happen just in the blood, so it doesn't give you the full picture. While blood tests can be helpful for testing things like thyroid and insulin levels, it's not very accurate at testing your sex hormones such as testosterone, estrogen and progesterone, as it usually reports your total hormone level rather than the free or active hormone levels. So following on from this, I was also asked what's the best way to test for hormone imbalances. So there are 3 ways that you can test your hormones: blood tests, saliva tests and urine tests. As I've already mentioned, blood tests aren't the most accurate for testing acne related hormones. Saliva tests can be done at your doctor's surgery, and they can offer a little bit more information when it comes to your hormone profile, but it only really works if you get tested at the right time of the month. So if you're not testing your hormones at the right time of the month, then you're probably not going to get an accurate reading. So for testing progesterone and estrogen, you really want to test about halfway through your luteal phase. So that's the second half of your cycle, about 5 to 7 days before your period starts. So that's for someone, for example, if they've got a 28-day cycle, you're looking at testing around day 21 of your cycle. If you're looking for the most accurate way to test your hormones, I've already mentioned this, but the one that you should definitely consider is a Dutch panel test. Dutch stands for Dried Urine Test for Comprehensive Hormones. Unfortunately, this isn't available on the NHS and you would have to purchase it privately. I think it's about £250, but don't quote me on it. But you know, if you're serious at understanding like why you're getting acne and which hormones are the ones that are the problem, you know, then a Dutch test is a small price to pay for, you know, when you compare it to years and years of trialing and erroring, trying different supplements, trying different diets, trying different skincare products, you know, all this sort of trial and error and sort of shooting in the dark, hoping that something is going to work. You know, if you're in that situation, then it's probably worth your while getting that full comprehensive Dutch test so that you really can start understanding what's going on. So the Dutch test is a really simple test that you do at home. You order the pack online, it gets sent to you, and you just collect 4 to 5 urine samples over the course of 2 days, usually between day 19 and day 22 of your cycle. If you've got a 28-day cycle, you know, taking multiple samples throughout the day over the course of a couple of days just means that you know, you're looking at all the different fluctuations and the interaction with each other, you know, and it just gives you a really clear idea of like how your body is utilizing your hormones and which could be the kind of the problem ones for you. So the next question is hello, Haxan. So the next question is, my hormonal acne is genetic, so there's nothing I can do about it. So that is not the case at all. While you may have a set of genes that make you more sensitive to inflammation, it causes your skin to produce cells at a faster rate, which can make your skin more prone to congestion. You know, those sorts of genetic traits are possible, but it doesn't mean that you have to live with acne for your whole life. You know, I'm a perfect example of that. I have you know, a lovely cocktail of genetic and, you know, man-made issues, including PCOS, celiac disease. You know, celiac disease is an autoimmune condition, which means my body is super prone to inflammation, you know, and my skin just naturally turns over so quickly, you know, that my skin just get congested within, you know, just in a couple of weeks of using even acne safe non-comedogenic oils. You know, it can just cause my skin to really get congested. So you know, I am very genetically prone to acne, but it doesn't mean that you have to live with chronic acne for your whole life. You know, these genetic traits and hurdles mean that, you know, it's not a straightforward path to achieving clear skin. You know, it might take a little longer to work out what works for you, but you know, you may have to it may need to be a sort of a lifelong maintenance, you know, making sure that you're eating the right way, you're taking sort of supplements that help to keep things under control, but you know, you don't have to live with it at all. Okay, so the next question is, do soy products trigger hormonal acne and why? So the debate about soy and hormones is a very controversial topic in the health world. Many people, you know, especially in the kind of like paleo and natural health world, will defiantly say that soy should be avoided at all costs. You know, but others have a bit more flexibility over the issue. For me personally, I think the term soy is extremely broad. You know, there are some soy products that can be problematic, and then others that can be really beneficial to our health. You know, soy-based products like miso, natto, and tempeh, these are traditionally fermented soy products, and actually, you know, really beneficial for the skin. The problematic soy products are the ones that, you know, are quite heavily processed, you know, like tofu and those sorts of products. You know, they're not much different to any other processed food. They've been quite heavily, you know, a lot of man-made products, soy products that have been, you know, sort of, you know, they're just so far removed from the raw natural version that our bodies just can't, it just struggles to know what to do with it. You know, our digestive system, from, you know, our liver, just processing it, our body just doesn't quite know what to do with it, and that can be a stress and that can be a burden on the body. So I think, you know, soy products can be really beneficial. They can be really good for, you know, like I said right back at the beginning of this video, you know, low estrogen levels. If low estrogen is a problem, especially as you're kind of reaching your 40s and 50s and you're still struggling with hormonal acne, then introducing some sort of safe, you know, high quality soy products like maybe tempeh or, you know, or natto or other things like miso, you know, that could help boost your estrogen production. That could help. But, you know, if you're kind of relying on, you know, if you're eating tofu at every meal, then that could be where things can kind of get a little bit problematic. So this is another common question that I get asked a lot, and also it's one of my most popular blog posts on skin therapy, so I will link to it below. But it's how do you clear the skin coloured bumps that often appear around the jawline. So I know firsthand how frustrating these skin coloured bumps can be. No matter what you do, no matter what you eat, you know, you just can't get rid of them. You know, I find cutting back on sugar and taking the right supplements to increase your antioxidants, these can be things like NAC and vitamin E, or NAC and vitamin E. Increasing your antioxidants in the skin can help prevent clogged pores, but also you want to be inhibiting that 5-alpha reductase enzyme that I mentioned before. You know, you want to be reducing that conversion of testosterone to DHT to prevent congestion in the skin. So supplements that can help with that are things like DIM, reishi, zinc and Vitex. So these can work for many people, but I would definitely look at cutting back on your sugar intake and increasing your antioxidant intake first, because a lot of the time that does make a huge difference. And then if you're not seeing the results you want, you could introduce the sort of 5-alpha reductase inhibiting supplements as well. You know, those people, you know, that have really sort of oily and congested skin may also benefit from treating it topically with specific ingredients in your skincare products as well. So specific ingredients that you can look out for in your skincare to help clear congestion are AHA and BHA acid, things like salicylic, glycolic, azelaic, mandelic. All these acids can be really beneficial at keeping congestion low. So yeah, when they're used as part of a skincare routine, they can really help keep the pores clear and free of pesky bumps and lumps. It's also worth noting for these acids that some people respond differently to others. Some people will respond really well to salicylic acid, and for other people it just doesn't really work for them. So salicylic acid is the kind of the most famous for keeping pores clear. You know, for the majority of people it does work really well. You just have to find the right balance. Some people prefer to go lower and not have something so harsh and sort of use maybe like a 0.5 or a 1% strength salicylic acid. Other people find that a 2% or 3% works better to keep. So it's just about kind of experimenting with your products and finding out what works best for you. So the next question is acne linked to hormonal contraception? And the answer is yes, 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 a million times yes. Unfortunately, hormonal contraception, especially the pill, has a devastating effect on our hormones and on our skin. You know, it's ironic as most of us get the, you know, go on the pill to help clear our acne. I know that was the case for me when I was 15, 16. I was put on the pill to help regulate my periods and clear my acne. You know, years and years later, I now know that that is a load of rubbish, and it's actually caused you know, it's you know, quite significantly damaged my hormones, and it's taken me a long time to get back to a place, you know, where my periods and my skin are in a good place, thanks to the negative effects of the pill. So the pill causes problems for your skin for a variety of different reasons. Firstly, it switches off your natural hormones. 2, it pumps your body full of synthetic hormones. 3, it depletes your vitamin and mineral levels. 4, it destroys your gut flora. 5, it causes insulin resistance. 6, it causes intestinal permeability, which causes inflammation in the gut. And 7, it messes with your sebum production and causes your skin to produce excess oil. So I'm seeing more and more women in my online clinic who have been on the contraceptive pill for years and have never suffered skin problems. Yet recently they've noticed that their skin is becoming more and more problematic. So the doctors have got them switching from, you know, thinking like, oh, it's just the effects of the pill are wearing off, let's move you on to another one, that should help. And you end up going from pill to try and regain some control over your skin. Yet it just seems to be getting worse and worse. You know, this is because of all the things I've just mentioned. The pill doesn't do your body any favors long term, and you know, and it's just those factors that the pill has been causing your body for years, they're finally catching up with you, and that's why you're not able to see any results from just switching to a new pill. You have to intervene and you have to work on fixing all those different issues if you want to get back in control with your skin. You know, the pill, in terms of other contraceptions, you know, I think the pill is definitely the worst when it comes to your hormones and your skin, but there are, you know, the other injection, the implant, they can also cause problems too. So the final question is, how do you avoid acne after coming off birth control? So I have a blog post on this, which I will link below. But as I previously mentioned, the pill causes so many negative side effects within the body, and including insulin resistance, gut imbalances, increased sebum production, and the depletion of nutrients or vitamins and minerals. So if you want to avoid acne after coming off birth control, then you have to address all these factors. You know, this means cutting out sugar and eating more fat to help balance blood sugar levels. You know, eating plenty of fermented foods and taking probiotics and digestive enzymes to address gut health. Starting on a good skincare regime that's going to help clear pores and keep oil production under control, and also adding in a high quality multivitamin to replace the lost vitamins and minerals like zinc, magnesium and vitamin B6 that get seriously depleted while you're taking hormonal contraceptives. So for best results, I recommend starting your post-pill action plan 3 months before you actually stop taking hormonal contraceptive. This gives you a full skin and hormone cycle for your body to really get into a really strong position, so that when you do come off the pill, you're not going to suffer the extreme side effects that many women do, you know, 3 to 6 months after coming off the pill. You know, the symptoms can range from, you know, acne like you've never experienced before, missing periods, heavy periods, you know, hair loss, weight gain. There are so many symptoms that can happen, you know, really devastating. You know, it can be really difficult to see your body change so like violently and dramatically in such a short space of time. You know, and by starting your plan, you know, a good 3 months before you actually, you know, put a spanner in the works and come straight off hormonal contraceptive, it's just giving your body the best chance possible to be able to handle that, you know, significant change. You know, thinking of the pill, I've told you already that, you know, the pill switches off your natural hormones. So when you stop taking it, you know, your body's expected to just kick back in like immediately and start producing its own hormones. That often doesn't happen, and that's where it can cause, you know, such huge hormonal imbalances in the body. So by starting to work on your overall health, working on your diet, working on your supplement regime and your skincare routine 3 months prior to coming off the pill, that's your best chance of avoiding post-pill acne. So that is all the questions answered. I hope you've learned a lot about your skin, your hormones, you know, how hormones might be affecting your acne, you know, and some really good tips on how you can, you know, you can improve things and create some sort of hormonal harmony within your body. If you've got any questions, just pop them below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.